Hello, and welcome back to the Pre-Heart Healing series. This is episode 2, I believe. Very excited about today. Today we're going to be talking about the arrival mentality. A near and dear topic to my heart because it's something that I have struggled with, continue to struggle with all the time. If you haven't seen episode 1, highly recommend it. It basically goes through me discussing what is real, what are the most important things in life in general, and where we prioritize, where we put our priorities. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong, but this is the Pre-Heart Healing series, this is basically it's kind of me trying to build a foundation for everything that I would recommend having a really good solid root in, a really good solid base in, before you actually start going into the heart healing journey. Because for me, I went through a lot of my journey without knowing these things, and it bit me in the butt a lot. And for me, it usually took a while of recovery before I was able to kind of get back up on the horse and start trying again. So I am trying to share all this information in this pre-heart healing series, so that way, hopefully, things don't bite you in the butt in the same way. Sounds weird coming out, but sure. Something I'd like to say before I get too far is that I'm going to be talking on a lot of different topics throughout the next however long this series will last. And the next series, which will just be the heart healing series. But I'm going to be talking about a lot of different topics, and I want to state right now that none of these topics are things that I have mastered in any way. They're things that I'm still working on every single day. And so I hope that that is known to you, that is apparent to you, because I do not want it to seem like I am someone who has all the answers and I'm sharing those answers with you because I am so wise. That is not the case. I have just gone through a lot of things, and I want to share that information and that knowledge that I've learned. Which brings us very well into this topic, which is the arrival mentality. I think that this idea is essential, honestly, for the healing journey. Much like reevaluating where our priorities should be and what things are truly real and what truly matters, I think that this arrival mentality is a pretty significant piece of the puzzle. I think it applies a lot, specifically with mental health, and especially with the Christian walk. If you've been a Christian, this is something that for me, when I was a Christian, it was super duper hard. Not that I'm not thinking about going back at some point. If I can actually fix the way that I view a lot of these things, I would like to, honestly. But my spiritual journey is a separate topic, and we'll talk about that at some point. But I think it's so easy to get into the idea of once we master something, once we reach our peak form of knowledge in this topic, then we will be good. It's almost like when you finally graduate high school or you finally graduate college and you get your college thingy. It's, the name of the thing is escaping my mind, but for high school it's your diploma, for college it's your degree. That's what the word is. And once you get that, you kind of just like make your own decisions. You've learned the things that you needed to learn to go ahead through life and do it. And for me, specifically with my mental health journey and with my spiritual walk in Christianity, I was very confident in the idea that if I could just learn all I needed to learn to be a proper Christian, and if I could, with my mental health, just get a hold and defeat my anxiety and my depression, then I would be good. I would never have to deal with it again. I would be done learning all the things I needed to learn, and in my perfection, I could find finally contentment, and I could find comfortability, because I didn't need to keep learning, because I was good, I was whole, because I had learned those things and I had reached what I thought was that standard of what I had to get before I could just live life and enjoy it. Once I learned the things, once I mastered them, then I could enjoy life. That is wrong. that idea and that mentality to go through life is so skewed. It is so broken. And it's led me to nothing but brokenness. I've had that mentality all my life, probably up until the last couple months. And it's not an easy habit to break, I will tell you that, but it's one that I find we all have to a certain degree. Once I finally finish this thing at work, once I finally finish this homework, once I finally finish this semester, I can relax. I'll be good. I will be complete. I can be proud of myself. I can be worth love and grace and all the things. Maybe that's extreme. That's where my brain takes it. But I think there's a very good character that you might recognize this sweatshirt if you know anime at all, but that character would be Son Goku from Dragon Ball Z. There's a quote that he says in one of the shows, Dragon Ball Super, where he says to one of his friends, "I want to get stronger than strong and then stronger than that." I think Goku is the absolute, perfect example, in my opinion, of what it is to live a journey mentality life instead of an arrival mentality life. We've heard in so many different forms of media, from the old sages or the wise gurus or the just free-flowing hippie-like characters that will say, just enjoy the journey, just go with the flow. And for me as a kid, that was always something I wanted to punch someone in the face whenever they'd say that to me, because it was irritating, it was annoying, because I thought that if I could finally overcome the struggle for good, then I could be content with myself. And the achievement of being able to finally conquer something was so much more important to me than enjoying the journey to get there. But going back to Goku, I think there's something that is so important about his mentality and the way he goes through things. If you don't know, Goku is the protagonist in the show Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super. The story of Dragon Ball basically follows Goku's life from a baby all the way to him being a grandpa, and it is still going today, I'm very happy to say. But the story of Dragon Ball is very much progression through struggle. And Goku, throughout the entire series, if there's one thing, if you ask a Dragon Ball fan what he loves more than anything in the world, besides food, is probably training, is pushing himself, pushing his limits, and getting stronger and stronger. And when you look at Dragon Ball, when you look at a lot of the characters, there's a lot of characters who train for different reasons. There's a lot of characters who get strong for different reasons. It may be to protect the people they love, which Goku does protect people through his strength. There's some who their identity is wrapped up in the label of being the strongest in the world or the universe or the multiverse, and to be able to achieve that title of either being the best in the universe or just being better than someone who they consider to be a rival. They think once they get that, then they will finally be content. They will finally be happy with themselves. And Goku, throughout the entire series, there's a lot of posters of him screaming and yelling, and he looks angry, but Goku is honestly one of the most chill and just happy-go-lucky characters that you could ever come across. Maximum golden retriever vibes. And it's so refreshing watching that, because that is so different than I feel like the culture we have today. Sorry, I have a piece of paper that gives me bullet points, so I don't completely get distracted, because I just saw a butterfly and now I'm thinking about that. But arrival mentality versus the journey mentality. Goku's goal is to not ever struggle again, but it's to continue to get stronger. Goku's whole goal is to just be better today than he was yesterday. And that is not done out of a place of deprecation and a hatred of who he was yesterday and that he wasn't enough yesterday, so he needs to work harder to be enough today, but it is just simply for the love of just getting stronger and just the journey of learning and growing and getting stronger. And when you don't tie it to your own worth, it is the most radically incredible thing that you will ever experience in your life. Something we see with Goku is that when he meets someone that's stronger than him, when he meets an opponent that's stronger, that just pummels him to the ground, and bro's pretty strong, but when he encounters someone who just absolutely decimates him, he doesn't get discouraged because he wasn't enough to beat them, but he gets excited. He gets excited that I haven't hit my peak yet. There's still more that I can learn. There's still more that I can grow in. And that's exciting, not because he's getting closer to an ideal of perfection, but because he is simply just growing. He's continuing to learn. And that is something that he loves more than anything. He loves pushing himself, testing his limits. And that is something that I think we have lost the art of being able to love. And there's a nuance to it, for sure. And I'll get into that in a little bit, but it's something that's just refreshing. Now, here's the truth. We will never reach perfection this side of eternity. That's a truth that I have had the hardest time accepting. I still struggle to accept. I still struggle to accept it. But we will never be perfect. We will never be physically the strongest in the world. We will never be mentally the smartest. There will always be someone out there who is bigger, who's better, who's stronger. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because that literally gives us this side of eternity infinite room for just growth, to learn. And there's something that is so much fun there's something that is so much fun in that. At least I think so. I've started to think that way. I didn't used to. But to embrace the challenge, to embrace our own imperfection, and to just greet the challenge and to meet it head on is something so exciting. Now, admitting that you're not perfect and you're never going to be perfect, or you'll never be quote unquote the best in something, it used to feel like compromise to me. It used to feel like I was settling. And that's something that I'm not saying to just let go of your desire to be great at something. But I am saying if you keep striving for perfection, perfectionism is such a lie, because it keeps promising you that once you achieve this certain standard, you will finally be content. And it is a moving goalpost. It will always be just right, but it'll always be never enough. A speaker who's really good on this topic is Dejesus, which if you haven't listened to any of his videos or read any of his books, highly recommend it. But he is fantastic at addressing this issue. But going back to Goku, this life is a journey. It's not a sprint. When you have a certain standard that you are waiting on to achieve that certain thing, and then you'll be content, you run towards it. Because if you put your worth and your value and your ability to accept love and grace all in the achievement of something, you will never be satisfied until you reach that thing. And you will finally reach that thing, whether it is a promotion, whether it is a marriage, whether it is a graduation. You will reach that thing and you will feel that contentment for about 2.5 seconds. And probably by the next week, maybe even the next day, your problems will still be there. You're still not going to be perfect. And you're going to feel broken, because you put all of your eggs in that basket. Ask me how I know. Me as a kid, I got held back a couple grades. And for a long time, I thought I was really stupid. And so as a kid, I decided, well, screw this. I'm going to push as hard as I can. I'm going to do everything in my power and my ability to just get through school. You know what? I am going to graduate early from high school to prove that to everyone around me, specifically myself, that I'm not dumb. Because I thought I was, and I felt like I was. And I thought once I graduated high school, I would finally be enough. I would finally be worth God's love. I would be worth my mom and my dad's love. And that was never something that they dangled in front of me like a carrot. That was just a decision that I made with myself. That's how I made sense of the pain that I was feeling in the moment. We tend to make stupid agreements with ourselves when we're in pain, because we want something to make sense. But I digress. It's not a sprint. There is no perfection you will eventually reach, so stop running and enjoy life for once. I am just now starting to learn this, and the difference in how life feels right now is mind-boggling. It has taken me 20 years to learn how to actually be able to just enjoy a day off. And it's crazy. It's insane. And I love it. I love it so, so much. So I encourage you, stop sprinting. Look for the places where you are putting your value in what you can achieve, what you're looking to as, once I finally arrive at this place, I will be good enough, I will be content. And just allow yourself to say right now, right here, right now, I am good enough. Right now, I am worth love. Because once you're able to do that, once you're able to give yourself unconditional love, which says right here before you do anything in the morning, before you step out of bed, as a practical example, before you even step out of bed and you complete your to-do list for whether it's your morning routine or the day in general, tell yourself that right now, right here, even if I do nothing for the rest of this day, I am enough. I am worth love. I am worth grace. And I am worth being here. That is huge, because once you get that, learning, growing, it no longer becomes something you need to be able to be worth being here, but it becomes something that is just fun. Because you are now learning and you are now working from your worth and not for it. And there is a difference. Trust me, by golly, there is a difference. Something I think that's important to mention is that progress is not linear. I think a lot of the time we have this idea that, well, you graduate school and then you get a job and you get a promotion and you get married and you have kids and you get rich and you succeed in life. Yeah, progress isn't like that. Specifically with mental health. We think that, I know I've thought before, once I've dealt with this anxiety, so now I've learned a lot, and now the next time that I face this anxiety, I will be good, I can face it. And I will know what to expect, and it can't affect me like it has before. It won't hit me as hard. And that is such a lie. And then you get hit with that anxiety, and it feels worse. Or maybe it feels the exact same, but you can't bring yourself to be able to get past it. And because of that, you feel even more broken because you feel like a failure. You feel like, I've gone through this before. Why am I still struggling? Why do I feel like I'm back at square one? Again, going back to the Goku analogy. There's a character, an absolute turd bag, and his name is Frieza. He is basically Space Hitler. And this guy, he is the worst. He has killed multiple of Goku's friends throughout the series. And he is just literally evil incarnate. But throughout the series, there is multiple times where Goku defeats him and Frieza comes back. And it's a trope that happens enough that when you see it and you watch Goku's reaction to Frieza coming back, it's interesting because his reaction is never, dang it, I wasn't enough to beat him the first time. This is all my fault and I wasn't enough, so why should I even try? Because that's how I felt with my anxiety journey. But no, he actually gets excited because now Frieza has come back, but he's come back stronger, which means Goku will have to beat Frieza again, and he will have to become stronger to meet that level, that progression through struggle. And because of the fact that Goku is already secure in who he is and where his worth and where his value lies, that idea of becoming stronger, it just gets exciting to him. It gets his blood boiling. It gets him pumped up because now he can continue to learn. He hasn't reached his ceiling, but he can continue to strive and continue to build knowledge and strength, and that's an exciting thing for him. So that is to say, progress is not linear. It'll go up and down and back and forth, and sometimes you won't even know where the heck you are on that graph of progress, but it is not linear. So do not compare your progress to how much you struggle with something. Your achievement, your ability to win in the mental health journey does not come from how little you struggle with anxiety or how little you struggle with depression. It comes from your willingness to stand back up. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but it is your willingness to stand back up over and over and over again, no matter how many times that struggle knocks you down. And as long as you decide to stand up, even if it's by your friends or your family members literally lifting you up so you can stand because you can't do it on your own strength, that is still you standing up in defiance, and that is a win. Never, ever forget that. All of this to say, I would advise that you just focus on the joy of learning, not on the satisfaction of achievement. Because achievement is momentary, but the journey is going to last until you do cross that finish line and you shuffle off this mortal coil. One last thing that I think is important to say is that things like relationships, hobbies, the things that matter to us, that are precious to us, that are meaningful, they require effort, exertion. I would say things like meals, things like sleep are even more satisfying after a good hard day's work. I think a very integral part to the human condition in our existence is our struggle in life and the fact that we continue to choose to get up and we continue to work through it. That is not to say that the meaning that we get is from pain, because if you're looking at it from a Christian perspective and you end up getting to heaven, you could ask, well, there is no more pain in heaven, so then where does our meaning come from? But here's the thing, think about it this way. When you work out, there's struggle, but we don't call that struggle bad. And in a way there is pain, but it's not necessarily bad. I would advise you to look at struggle in a different light, because it's not inherently a bad thing. I think the things that are most meaningful, the things that are most gratifying when you finally get there, is the things that take work and effort. And this mental health journey will require that from you. But there's so much freedom on the other side. It is worth the struggle, I promise you. Throughout all of this, you have to take it from being okay with who you are. There's a character in the show Vegeta who keeps thinking if he can just beat Goku, he'll be satisfied. And one, because Goku's the main character, but also because Vegeta keeps putting all his value into that achievement. Vegeta's a lot less of a happy character than Goku is. So I advise you, as you go through life, as you go through the next days, look at the places where you are placing your value, and once I finally achieve this, I will be enough. Where are you placing your value and achievement? And where can you shift that to saying, right now, right here, I am enough? Right here with this anxiety, even though I'm feeling it, even though my heart is racing, my chest is tightening, and I can barely breathe, and I don't have an appetite, I am enough. Because you are. You are worth being here. You are worth love. You are worth grace. And I will say that every single video for as long as it takes for it, one, to get through your head, but also for it to get through my head, because I'm still struggling to get that. It's not impossible, but it's very hard. At this point, I'm rambling, so I will close it off here. If you enjoyed this video, I'm going to be making and dropping a video every other week on Friday, usually evenings around 5 p.m., and I'll be doing some shorts in that middle time. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment, and I will do my best to get back to you. But thank you so much for watching this far. I love you all. I hope you all have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you're watching this. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Ugh, crud. Ooh, boy. Oh, it's a lot of sitting.